Hi folks, it's Out and About with Steve. Today I'm very happy because I'm in one of my favorite places. It's Daytona Beach, Florida. Stick with me and learn a little bit more about why they call Daytona the world's most famous beach. Okay folks, if you've ever been to Daytona Beach, Florida, you know a few things about it. Daytona is called the world's most famous beach. Why do you think that is? Is it because of the sunbathing? The great water? The dining? Golf? What could it be? Well, if you're not old enough to know it, a couple of things happened here in Daytona Beach in relationship to the automobile. In the early days of the automobile, this is where the world land speed records were taking place at, Daytona Beach, Florida. Today, most people don't know it, but Bonneville Salt Flats, way out west, is doing the same thing. But way back in the day, 1900s, 1910, all the way up through the 30s, land speed records were happening here at Daytona Beach. You'd take two runs, you'd wake one down the beach, and you'd bring another run back up the beach to certify the time. The fastest car I've seen here on these plaques, there's a bunch of plaques that go up and down the boardwalk going towards the crab shack and the pier, and that way on the ground. If you go through and read those like I've done, you'll realize that they've actually had a diesel car going here, I think it was called the Bluebird, that ran over 300 miles an hour. That's just incredible for that time. I think the car also came from over in England as well, so that's incredible. The other thing, the reason why this is called the world's most famous beach, still has to do with the automobile. A guy named Bill France was an early racer. Daytona Beach, back in the day, back in the late 20s, early 30s, were trying to bring people here for tourism because they had this great beach and they were building up everything. So Bill France and a lot of other stock car racers, they weren't called that then, but until the racers, got the city to put up money to have a race here. They would race on the beach and race back down on the gravel road or asphalt and come back here from the south side. The city ran the race for a couple of years. By the end of the second year, they were losing money. The city decided to quit doing the race. So what are the major implications of this? The city quits doing the racing on the beach, and there's no future for NASCAR as we know it today. So in about back in the 30s, two racers came together. One of the fellows' name was Bill France Sr. He took over the sponsorship. He was a very successful racer. He took over the sponsorship of the races, raising money and coordinating the races. That in turn has turned into Daytona Beach and NASCAR. North American Stock Car Racing Association is what they call this, I believe. So that's how NASCAR got started here. The other thing Daytona Beach is famous for is, you don't see it here. If you look here on the beach, do you see any cars driving up and down the beach? No. You get an emergency lane right here if you had a vehicle that had to come down here. But in this portion of Daytona Beach, it's a little bit south of the pier and it goes a little bit north of the pier. There's no driving on the beach. So the first time I came here in about 1974, I remember all this beach was open for traffic, and there were all these hot cars here from the late 60s, early 70s, hot rods, beautiful colors, and that types of thing. It was really cool. So later on, part of the beach is where it was developed, this big boardwalk section that's right here with all these big high-rise hotels and Hiltons and Wyndhams and things like that, proposed legislation to close off the beach for safety of the people coming down here. So it kind of killed the driving on the beach here, but everywhere else you can drive, there's places you can pull up, you can have a family gathering, you can lay out all day, put it up an umbrella, you can cook, you can do whatever and make it happen for you. So Daytona Beach is the world's most famous beach because of three things. One, land speed records, look it up. Number two, NASCAR started here. If you go back and look at YouTube, I'm sure you can see where people are racing up and down the beach and see the cars flip and everything else. It's just incredible. But number three is driving on the beach. I don't know of any other beaches where you can go to where you can actually drive on the beach. You can still do that at Daytona Beach, Florida. So if you're ever out and about, you want some great action, come to Daytona Beach. There's a lot of things to do, a lot of great hotels here. This is where the action is. So folks, like my page and share these videos if you would. Let me know what you'd like to see next. It's another great episode of Out and About with Steve.